Today I fucked up by finishing all of math in grade school. Note: I was inspired to write this up by a recent hilarious post, in which a youngling argues for not having to do homework. Edward, you are a kindred spirit. Thank you for reminding me of this. Oblig. This is a story my family loves to tell about me when I was a kid, so not today, when I was in, not sure which grade, math homework came in the form of a workbook which was a companion to the textbook. You know, the kind of big-ass comic book compendium-sized thing with problems and space to show your work, and perforated pages you could rip out and hand in. That type of workbook. At the end of every class, the teacher would assign one or more sheets as homework, and you had to take this huge backpack-bursting thing home with you, match it up with the material in the textbook, and fill in the answers. The first week of class, I got so mad at being assigned homework that I started toting that workbook around everywhere. Lunchroom, gym class, bathroom, bus to and from anywhere I had 3 minutes of free time, I had a pencil and that workbook out. The only place I didn't take it was home. Because fuck that. My time was my time. It took me just a few weeks to do every damn problem in that workbook. I literally finished math. I had to read the textbook from cover to cover to do it, and I actually did more homework than the other kids, because they only had to do the assigned problems, whereas I had to do all of them because I had no way of knowing what would be assigned. But it was worth it to stick it to the man. I think my math teacher was a woman, but still. The day came. The last problem was solved and cross-checked. Work was shown in detail, so the morons grading the worksheets didn't have to stretch their tiny brain cells to understand how I figured out that Jose had 3 apples and Belinda's broke ass had none. Fuck Belinda. She's a bitch. In my mind, this was going to be my day. I was going to walk up to the front of the class during homework hand-in and drop that fucking workbook onto the teacher's desk from 4 feet up. It was going to make a resounding slam. Noise that would wake up students 3 classrooms away. No more homework. Ever. Hell, I might get to skip math altogether. If this worked, I could do the same for every subject and get the entire year off. I did the thing. I dropped the workbook. Sadly, it only made a small wham. I told the teacher I was done with all the math, workbook and textbook. And then I sat down, to noticeably less applause than I had expected. But it was still okay, because I was done with math forever. Or so I thought. Those fuckers. You know what they did? They sent me to the next grade for math, which had twice as much homework, goddammit. And not only that, I had to endure the stares of all my fellow students. Now you pay attention, assholes? As I got up from class to go skip a grade math, for an hour every day. I was, Mags the math nerd, for the rest of elementary school. I could have just turned in each finished sheet in the mornings and spend my evenings relaxing, but no. I had to feed my inner drama queen. Too long did not read. Got mad at having homework for math. Did all the possible homework. Turned it in thinking I would get the rest of the year off, from math. But instead just got booted up to the next grade's math, which was harder and had more homework. I did go on to love math as a subject and even took extra math classes in college. But I still feel a sense of betrayal about the whole thing. At least you learned a valuable lesson at a young age. The only reward for hard work is more work. I did this with Accounting 10, finished in the first 2 or 3 weeks of class, so they let me do Accounting 20 instead during the same time. I finished grade 4 math around January or so, but instead of letting me do grade 5, I was told to just go to the computer lab. This was back in the 80s. Guess it worked out though, as I work in IT now. Tears of joy. You took a calculated risk, but turns out you were so good at math that you sucked at calculating. I'm not as smart as you. I did used to do my physics homework as the teacher was explaining the subject because 1, I can read a book and it's not that difficult, and 2, he was crap at explaining, and listening to him confused most students more than it helped them. At the end of one class, 1 had done all exercises in the book for that chapter when we were told we could skip some of them because they were too difficult. I felt dumb for completing them. I did this and skipped a grade 2. Hope you stuck with it more than I did. I decided to not go to the next grade. Kids are stupid. Dude, your reward for doing math is always more math. This isn't a foo, this is a genuine prize and a joy of life that you experienced. Today I fucked up by telling my cousin I was bullied. Oh God. Not safe for work because of language. I, 16F, was bullied 2 years ago by some guys in my year. They made the most disgusting jokes towards me, and they'd call me names and splash water all over, especially this one guy. Was a weird bully. He'd say things that made me cry, and when he'd notice I did cry, My eyes were all red when I came back into class. He'd start making jokes and trying to make me laugh, and he'd apologize sometimes. At the end, he ended up being really nice to me and we sort of became friends. Yesterday, I mentioned how I was bullied and my cousin, 18M, was there and he started asking questions and looked pissed. I didn't think anything of it so I answered. Today I get a text where he sends M's full name, and I am like, huh? And he goes, that's him, right? Guy who bullied you. And I started asking where he got the name and he told me not to worry Abbott, and then proceeds to send me a screenshot of them texting where he's asking for a meet-up. 2 hours later, I get sent this voice message of two guys talking but I can't hear shit except, "You fucking dick. You goddamn asshole, I will chop off your fucking dick right now. I will hold you down and cut off your balls, so you better fucking talk, you goddamn asshole." It wasn't exactly like that, I just caught some words and I am putting them together here. And then I get sent a video of my fucking bully WHO I have not seen in 2 years apologizing for like 3 straight minutes while my cousin is holding the phone. Obviously I lost my shit when I saw that and demanded to know what the fuck was happening, and I proceeded to let my cousin let M hear that I was sorry and that I forgave him before he left school and all was cool, and I was thankful he apologized and how I felt bad and I wanted him to know I was pretty good. M said he wished me well, and then my cousin left and texts me, "Feel better? IMABSOLOUTELY flabbergasted RN." TLR told my cousin Ab my bully and he proceeded to go up to his house and threaten him into apologizing to me. I remember my school years ago. Friend of mine, we called him Beck, was a tough guy. Well, Beck had a little brother a few classes lower who was always getting bullied. One day it got really bad and this little kid was smiling with people wanting to punch his face in. Bully asks him, "Why are you laughing? My big brother is going to come for you." Beck did find the guys, and they never bothered his brother again. One of the funniest stories I remember from school. Regarding your cousin. You might not feel this was needed, but a lot of people feel better if someone helps them. Your cousin means well, it just sounds like you two are not exactly up to date. I bet there are a lot of people reading this who wish they had a cousin like you have. Well, your bully fucked up by bullying you. Your cousin is a real ride or die. I mean, they went overboard, but at least you know who has your back. At the end, he ended up being really nice to me and we sort of became friends. Did you not tell your cousin this part? Your cousin needs to think more before he gets himself in a lot of trouble. Everybody in this scenario needs therapy. TIFU by giving the neighbor kid a motorcycle. Obligatory. This was a couple years ago. For 4 years the neighbor kid had been cutting my lawn for what he thought was free. Why? Well, years ago him and his friends were playing basketball. As anyone can tell you, teenagers in a neighborhood ball game, things can get heated. Name-calling, best friends become enemies, and let's not forget the fistfight. I didn't get to see the game, however at some point there was a fight, which resulted in a thrown basketball through my front picture window. Now I have a basketball through the window and a kid on my front porch. All kinds of upset and crying. Apologies left and right, said he'd pay for it. I really wasn't all that mad. Obviously nobody intended for a ball to go through my window. I wanted new windows anyway. Now I had a really good reason to do it. All 4 kids helped put some plastic up for me. As far as I was concerned, all was well. The parents, great people really. Always kind. We'd watch each other's property if one of us was away. Had plenty of neighborhood cul-de-sac parties over the years. They were more upset than I ever could have been. Decided their son would be cutting my lawn for free until he was 16. Kind of extreme, but they were not taking no for an answer. 4 fucking years? The hell, you say? That's just ridiculous. However, that kid cut my lawn every 2 weeks in spring, summer and fall. For 4 years. He messed up some unbelievably expensive plants that actually cost more than the window. His parents never let me hand him money. I felt this just isn't right. I started putting $100 every time he did it into a little safe box. 15 times per year. Fast forward, in 4 years he had racked up $6 grand. The summer he turned 16 was 4 years after the basketball incident. He was getting his license and wanted his own wheels. I waited until his parents got home, walked over and handed this young man the money in front of his parents. They said no, of course. I didn't want to hear it, told them I wasn't taking the money back. He'd mowed and never complained for 4 years. He earned it. Kid was so happy and overjoyed. His mom and dad were kind of emotional, so was I. Next day I hear a window rattling, Harley Davidson outside. Oh yes folks, he bought his best friend's older brother's Sportster 1200 Custom Deluxe. This fool had never even owned a dirt bike. I'm outside, his mom's outside. I'm in shock, she's beyond pissed. Cursing at me because it's my fault he had the money. He's going to get hurt or die. Everything a mom would say. I'm trying not to show that aside from being shocked I'm slightly amused. I can't prove it but I think he spent that $6,000 specifically to piss his parents off for making him mow that lawn for free. I mean, he didn't know there was actually money involved. 2 days pass, I haven't heard the bike start. Finally I hear it start up. He pulls out the driveway, makes it to the stop sign. Goes to turn, hits curb, whiskey throttles it. Hits a parked car. Breaks his left arm, fracture wrist on right hand. And he's all scratched up. Medical bills, a lot more than $6,000. The reason the bike hadn't started in days. Oh, he didn't have insurance on it yet. He didn't even have a motorcycle license. So the parked car he was liable for. The bike is trashed. An Infiniti needs a new fender and sideview mirror. All in all, this shit ended up costing close to $10,000. Plus his mom was right, he'd hurt himself. Too long, did not read. I saved up the money that neighbor kid's parents wouldn't let him accept after breaking my window. When I gave it to him at age 16. He bought a motorcycle, wrecked it 3 days. Broken bones, fucked up a car. Edit. I wasn't expecting all the comments and compliments. Since I didn't exactly fuck up. I just could have planned it out a little better and discussed it with parents. I'll continue to answer all I can. Thank you, kind Redditors. Seriously, I so wasn't expecting the kindness from everyone. $100 a pop, hell, I will mow your grass? Now he'll have to mow the lawn of the Infiniti owner. Wonder what he'll be getting in a few years. You did a good thing, not your fault the kid's a muppet. Playing the long game to get revenge for the window, I like it. At the start of your story I thought you said the kid was 4 years old. Now that woulda done it. Parents had the leash too tight. He could only do dumb impulsive things when he got room to do it because they never gave him the room to do it. Lesson for all of us. Today I fucked up by getting pulled over for speeding while my car wasn't even on. Obligatory. This happened 2 years ago. Late Friday night, me and my dumbass high school friends were barreling down some back roads in my old VW Jetta, as usual. But I receive a text from my mom telling me to come home ASAP or I'm in big trouble. I have extremely strict, high-key abusive parents, so I was pretty serious about getting back in time before being killed. Problem was, they wanted me home in 30 minutes, and I was 45 minutes away and had to drop off 4 different people. Push comes to shove and some risky driving may or may not have happened and I get home right on the dot when I was meant to. Only problem is, my gaslight had been on for a while. Cut to the next day. I have work at 8 a.m. Wake up around 7 and rush to get ready. Fly out the door, hop in my car. Hope I have enough has to make it to a gas station before work, and my car won't even turn on. No gas at all. So what does teenage me decide to do? Well, I live on a very tall, rolling hill, with a decent all the way to downtown where I work, so logically, I decide I'll try and coast my car all the way to work and figure it out from there. Now here's where the problems really start. First, without being on, I have no power steering, and the only way I can brake is by using my e-brake. There's also one small hill I have to make it up and over halfway to work, so I knew I'd need to go decently fast to make it over. All is going well. I'm cruising about 55 in a 30 ready to go up the hill, and as you may have guessed, there's a cop, right at the bottom, who immediately turns his lights on to pull me over when I pass him. So now not only am I stuck on the back side of the hill, I had to make it over, with no gas. I had to try and explain the situation to the cop, who actually found it quite funny. I was let off with no ticket, but I missed work and had to walk 2 miles with a gas can to get gas. And still to this day I think I'm the only person to ever get pulled over for speeding without even having my car on. Cold sweat smile. Too long did not read. I thought it would be a good idea to coast my dead car to work, but got pulled over for speeding and had to explain why and how I was going so fast in a car that wasn't even on. Got off scot-free. One time I was driving on a highway in Florida when my truck ran out of gas. I put it in neutral and just coasted, hoping I'd get closer to an exit to walk and get gas. Well, I kept coasting, and I noticed an exit coming up with signs for a gas station. I had enough momentum that I figured I'd just coast off the exit to get closer to the station. The station was right off the exit before any intersections, and there was no other traffic, and I was able to coast right into the gas station and right up to the pump. It was amazing. Dude, You can use your brakes without the car running. FFS, what are we teaching young drivers these days? I mean. At that point, I would have hit the hazards and stopped at the other side of the top of the hill. Lol. Glad YHE cop was nice about it. I was let off with no ticket. This is the real foo. The cop should have given you not one, but 2 tickets. One for speeding, the other one for knowingly driving a vehicle without fully functioning steering and brakes. What you did was stupid and careless. You could have killed someone. I don't understand what this has to do with blowjobs. Either this is a joke or this is by the far the stupidest story I've ever fucking heard, and you shouldn't have a license.